I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. This is Brian Nixon, who's sitting here to my right. Brian, how are you?
Doing well, Skip.
Okay. Brian Nixon, that's N-I-X-O-N. Are you related at all to Richard Nixon?
Well, so my father tells me we're a fourth cousin. Yes, that's true.
Is that true?
That's what I've been told. My father could be lying, though, you know.
Does he watch this on the internet by any chance?
I told him not to watch tonight.
Okay, good. Well, listen, I've known Brian for several years. Brian, you grew up here.
I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
And then you moved away for a period of time, and you recently moved back.
That's correct.
And you were out in California, and I know that you were in the art community. I know you worked in education. You were the principal, or what was it, chancellor, or?
Chancellor sounds good.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. Better than what I was, so let's say chancellor.
Okay. So he was the chancellor. Now, this is all public information, so you're steering me in the right direction. Chancellor of Calvary Chapel High School in Costa Mesa, California.
That's correct.
And also you got a PhD in what?
Christian education.
Christian education. So he's a member of our staff, by the way, now. He's a pastor on our staff. I wanted you to meet him. So Brian, we're talking about minor prophets. We're talking about guys like Zephaniah and Haggai. These are guys that, unless their works were published, nobody would ever hear of them, right?
That's right.
So tell us a little, why is publishing so important?
Publishing's important because people can get the gospel from a completely different angle, or biblical teaching from a different angle. Many people are not necessarily what we'd call auditory listeners. They don't process information as well by just hearing it. So when they have the written word before them, the visual aspect, the component of their brain, cognitive research would tell us, that they learn at a different degree than other people.
I could listen to him for hours, couldn't you? That's just... You said that so well.
Yeah.
Would you say it one more time? Because I didn't understand a thing you just said.
Reading's good for your brain.
Okay, good. That I can grasp. That helps me. The auditory processing, whatever you were saying. Anyway, I do know that I think it was like the year 868 when in China they started doing printing press with block lettering. But it was like 1440, 1450 that Gutenberg and the Gutenberg press with movable type generated the kind of literature that provided books. People could now read in large quantities the same thing, and the Bible was printed. So that was one of the monumental changeovers in our culture, wasn't it?
It truly was. It would be akin to the internet to today.
Okay. So if publishing is important, why is it important to publish other books? I mean, why isn't the Bible enough?
Well, because it's commentary. It's relating elements from the Bible to today's day and age, letting people know that the Bible's not a book just of 2,000 years ago or 1,500 years ago or 4,000 years ago. It's a book for today. And so it's important that we get books out there that relate biblical truths to the day and age in which we live, so people ultimately could be impacted by the same gospel.
So one of the things that you're going to be doing here, among others, is helping us with publication, writing of books, the Connection Magazine getting started again, and what else?
That's right. Connection Magazine, working on some of your books. We're introducing some new media elements, necessarily not publishing, but still nonetheless is important. As we pointed out, the correlation between the Gutenberg printing press to the internet. I mean, that's just another means to get the gospel out to people.
Okay, so you talked about how important it is for reading. Who really reads today? Or let me put it a different way. People read differently today than they used to. Is that right?
That's right.
It's very visual these days. I mean, even the way book layout is done, it's not like you can have page after page after page. There's not a whole lot of people buying that stuff.
No,
is that right?
That's correct. To answer your first question, who's reading? Research would show us that women are the preponderance of people who read.
So they're smarter than we are.
Gals, of course they are.
Okay. They knew that, though.
They knew that. And then, of course, as you said, people are reading differently. They're reading much more visually, and they're reading in smaller chunks, snippets. So that's why sound bites are so important in today's media.
Okay, so tell us about, we're starting something that something that we introduced years ago on a semi-regular basis called the Connection Magazine. We're going to rekindle that again, but it's going to be a little wider distribution. Tell us about that and the first edition.
Yeah, the Connection Magazine, first edition's coming out this fall of this year. And the last Connection series that stopped about 2 years ago was excellent. It was tremendous.
Could you put the microphone just a little closer to your mouth?
Tremendous.
That's good. That's good. There you go.
He wanted to make sure you heard tremendous. The last Connection series truly were tremendous, but what we've done with this one is we've focused it a little more. So we're taking it upon themes, and we're doing themes upon variations. So this first one.
Could you move it just a little bit away? Just a little bit. Not too far away, but not too close. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're not interrupting at all, Skip. So themes and variations, kind of like counterpoint in classical music, but theme and variation. So our first one's on Homeland Security.
Okay.
And you do the lead article. And then, of course, we have Pastor Chuck doing an article. And then we've chosen an article from...
You should explain Pastor Chuck
Smith. Pastor Chuck Smith. Okay. And then we have Charles Spurgeon. We chose an article from the history books, if you will, that cover that. And then we have some unique features. We have a devotional included in it called Truth Connect. And then we have a section called Off or From the Blog, which is where you answer a question. This first one, you answer the elusive question about eternal security. Mm-hmm. And then we have a new section called Off the Cuff, where you interview people just like now. And of course, it's transcribed, and we put it out there. And
I'm not so obnoxious in print, am I, as I am live?
Oh, no, you're not obnoxious right now.
Okay, good. Good. Go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're not. No interruption. And the first interview you do in that is Lieutenant General Boykin. So we're really excited about this particular publication.
Okay, so something else that we've started recently, and that was last week, and that is a little thing we call River Sessions. That's down by the Rio Grande River.
That's right.
What is that? What do we do there?
Well, the idea of the River Sessions is you spend 20 to 30 hours per week studying. Pastors spend a lot of time hitting the book. But by the time you walk up to the podium, you're communicating, you're giving to us about 5% of what you have digested internally and through your mind. So the idea of the River Sessions is that someone, and I do this first one, but we'll have various people interacting with you, they will probe your mind and your studies, asking you questions as if I was a person in the pew saying, you know what, you didn't make a lot of sense last time, or I didn't catch it.
I get a lot of those questions, by the way.
I've read them.
Yeah.
But
be careful.
So, and then I'd be able to probe some more, ask some deeper questions, kind of take it from different angles. And the first one was really fun to do, actually.
It was fun. Speaking of that, we're going to start up on Saturday nights again, Connection Q&A. What that is right after the Saturday night service, depending on whatever the message is, people who were there at the service or heard on the radio can call in the radio station and ask questions that they had, maybe that they took notes on or wanted to ask right there.
That's right. This is another medium for the same type of scenario where people will be able to call into the radio broadcast, say, Pastor Skip, you said this. What did you mean by that? Or what is this teaching? And then you'll be able to address it. Of course, you and I go back with this. We did Pastor's Perspective in California together.
That's right. That was a lot of fun. So back to those river sessions. If there's anybody in here who does video as a background, or you want to do some filming, we're trying to put together a little team that we can do this, because we want to post these on the internet, on our website, and use them for a lot of applications.
That's exactly right.
So I would just say, if you want to get involved to see Brian Nixon, cousin to President Nixon,
that's right,
after the service. Is that right?
That's exactly right. After the service, or you could always call the church office. I'm at extension 1133.
Oh,
my phone doesn't work very well, but I'm there. So when I say hello and you don't hear, just know I'm there.
Okay, that's good. Okay, one final thing. You used to work for Chuck Smith, Pastor Chuck Smith.
Yes.
So you were the voice that we heard often in the radio, kind of introducing the program. Is that right?
That's right.
How many of you here recognize that voice or that name, Brian Nixon? Look at, you're famous.
Yeah, I did that for years.
Okay, so is Chuck Smith mad that you jumped ship and came here?
He wasn't mad. Oh,
Brian, you know, Brian,
Brian.
I've always felt... No, go ahead. I don't want to...
He didn't say mad. He used another adjective.
What's that?
Starts with a D. And it's not, it's not what you're thinking. He said, I'm disappointed, but I'm so glad you're going with Skip, and we'll just be praying for you because the Lord's going to do great things through you and Skip.
Well, we're glad you're here, by the way. God bless you. Thank you very much.
God bless you.